might be just here.
Rome is definitely a city where passion thrives, where the food is great, the historical sites are monumental and seriously breathtaking. And yet, I'm not in a hurry to return. Make sure you stick around to find out why, as I take you through all things good and not so much.
All sorts of nice things about you, so stay away from them.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Buongiorno and welcome to Rome. And I'm coming to you from Roma Termini. This is the main railway station in Rome. And I am so excited to be here because I've just gotten off the airport train and I'm gonna be spending about 2 days in Rome before heading up to Venice. So on this episode onwards, I'm gonna be showing you what I am doing in Rome, and I am truly, absolutely excited to do this episode. So let's get started, shall we?
Everybody just do your thing.
For most of us flying international into Rome, the transport of choice to get into town would be the regional service of Leonardo Express from Aeroporto Internazionale di Roma Fiumicino to Stazione di Roma Termini. This train is connected by a covered walkway from all terminals at Fiumicino Airport, and it zips us to the center of Rome in 30 minutes. It is a non-stop service which departs every 15 minutes from both points. And before you know it, you disembark into the hustle and bustle of this gigantic city and her absolutely heaving railway terminus station. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan. Born and bred in Singapore, I now call Australia home, and I create heaps of travel and foodie content. This trip to Rome is a small part of a wider travel series which sees us set foot in 7 countries over 2.5 weeks. Our first stop was Singapore, where we went to France and then ended up in Malta, where we'd spend most of our time in. From there, we traveled through Italy, Switzerland, UK, and finally Vietnam before returning home to Australia. So this travel series will include heaps of flight reviews, train journeys, and destination vlogs to last a few months, and they will be linked in the description below as and when they're published. If you don't wish to miss any episodes, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell icon so you'll get notified whenever they go to air. Giving me a like will encourage me to keep content flowing. So here's a thanks, because your support is very much appreciated.
We've just settled our bags in the hotel, so I am so hungry because I haven't had much to eat since we've arrived from Malta. So we're gonna go out and get some good Italian food.
Rome is the capital city of Italy. Within its commune confines, there are just over 2.8 million residents crammed into 1,285 square kilometers, making it the 3rd most populous city in the EU. The outer limits contain the metropolitan area, which gives it a combined population size of just over 4.3 million. Roman history is one of the more prominent historical times in Europe, which spans 28 centuries, and it has been widely popularized in modern pop culture through movies and films. So it's no surprise why Rome plays host to the world, and Rome welcomes millions of tourists each year who, like me, is here for the first time to see these historical sites in person. One of my all-time favorite cuisines in my culinary repertoire is Italian. And I'm well aware having Italian food overseas isn't quite the same as having it in Italy. It's pretty much like how my Aussie friends tell me they've had the most authentic Singapore fried noodles in some suburb in Adelaide. There's no such thing. So here I am, eager to start this visit with getting some food in my mouth.
You know, we've been walking about 10 minutes from the hotel now, and to be honest, I don't know where I am. So we saw this restaurant just behind, and I'm really hungry and I don't feel like walking anymore. So we're just gonna head in there and settle down for an early lunch before our next activity. And yeah, it says Chinese and Italian, so that's pretty interesting. The boss is Chinese, but the wait staff is you have Indians and from Nepal, I think. Yeah, so this is where we're gonna have lunch.
We begin my first official Italian meal with scallopini al limone. This is the exact same thing I had last night in Malta, and this would be a great opportunity to have a scallopini off, to see who did it better. Hubby chose a simple pizza with Parma ham. I was so tempted to ask for a pizza with pineapple and ham, just to see if the chef would chase us away with a broom. Some of the best Italian dishes are simple, with no more than a handful of ingredients to create a flavorful masterpiece. And the scallopini al limone is one such dish. These thin slices of veal are lightly floured, then pan-fried really quickly. Limone means lemon, so this sauce has a zingy tang which complements everything else so well. Hubby enjoyed his simple pizza so much there was none left for me by the time I reached over to have a taste.
Anyway, that was our first meal in Rome, done and dusted. I decided to have a little scallopini off because scallopini is one of my favorite meals in the world, really. And al limone is so difficult to find in Australia. You can find alfanghi anywhere. Scallopini alfanghi is easily available at every Italian restaurant that you go to in Australia. But al limone is very hard to find. So, which is why when I saw it on the menu, I decided to do a little scallopini off. On my last night in Malta, I had the scallopini al limone as well. And so I have the second serve here. I gotta say the one in Malta was actually a lot better than this, which is weird, right? Because we are in Italy. But yeah, I mean, it was still good. I'm not saying that it's bad. It was still good. But the one in Malta takes the cake. It's a lot better. Yeah, anyway, on to our next activity. Yeah.
Our next destination is one of the world's most recognizable historical sites. When you're famous enough to be destroyed in a big-budget Hollywood disaster movie, complete with panicking American tourists, then you know it's worth a visit. Welcome to the Colosseum, and it's a site which embodies Rome and its history. It is the largest ancient amphitheater ever built, and it is still standing despite its age and surviving huge earthquakes. This structure was completed in 80 AD, and in its heyday had a capacity for about 80,000 spectators, and this is like a Taylor Swift concert proportion. It's been brought to prominence time and time again by movies like Gladiator, where slaves were thrown in there to fight till death, reenactments of famous battles, and even executions. In its later years before it was earmarked as a heritage-protected historical site, the Colosseum was used as housing, workshops, a fortress, and even a religious shrine throughout different periods of its life. In case you're wondering, we joined a walking tour mainly because we wanted to know the backstories of these sites we're visiting. And also because you've technically already paid for the entry, you get to skip the long lines to get into anywhere. So while it's pretty cliche to follow the flag as a tourist, in this case, it really works to your advantage because the lines were just horrible. Besides the Colosseum, our tour also included entry into Palatine Hill. And this is where we're off to next. The Roman Empire had to start somewhere. And the beginnings of it, the first nucleus of the Romans was formed right in this area. Because there was so much activity here during the Roman Empire, there are many finds from excavations, so much so this entire hill has been designated as an open-air museum of sorts. Excavations have shown that this area has been inhabited since 10th century BC. Imperial palaces were built here, and the surroundings also held the homes of many affluent Romans during that time. The ruins of these palaces, churches, and foundations of luxurious homes of the rich can be seen in present day, which gives you an insight into the grandeur of Rome's beginnings.
That tour went for a while. So we went through the Palatine Hill. After the Colosseum, we went to the Palatine Hill, and from there we ended at the Roman Forum. So this is one of the most informative tours I've ever been on. I mean, this is Roman history. Roman history goes back to biblical times, so there is a lot to cover. Every structure here has a lot of meaning, so yeah, there's a lot of history to cover. So anyway, we're gonna head for dinner now, I think, and then yeah, I'll talk to you after dinner again, alright? One of the things you gotta stay away from, right, when you're out here, are these guys from Africa you see behind me. They will come to you and say they are very friendly, and then they will come and put a bracelet on you, saying all the nice things and saying they're going to give the bracelet to you for free. Stay away from them because they will ask for money. I had to rip the bloody bracelet off and give it back to them and say just stay away because I have no cash, which is the truth. I mean, who travels with cash anymore? But they're asking for cash. Alright, so stay away from those guys from Africa, alright? They will tell you some story about how precious the bracelet is, and they will whip it on your hand so quickly you don't even know it's on your hand. And this worries me in a place like Rome because they will surround you, okay? Telling all sorts of nice things about you, so stay away from them. Hi guys, next thing you know, it's dinner time and we are at the hotel called the Best Western, which is along the street. I will put the address of the street in your screen right now, and this place is literally lined with trattorias after trattorias, so you will never ever go hungry. In fact, you'll be so spoiled for choice on this street. Now, we've been walking a lot today, so we are pretty tired, so we thought you know, we just have a meal just outside our hotel. And I don't know what's the name of this trattoria behind, because they're all called trattorias. It means al fresco in Italian, right? So every other restaurant is a trattoria. So we're just gonna pick one, and we pick one that's just right behind us, and that's where we're gonna have dinner tonight. Oh, I can't wait to eat because I'm just so hungry.
We're close to the train station of Roma Termini. As this is a major tourist hub, it also means every restaurant here wants your business. So the prices here are surprisingly rather reasonable. I wanted the full Italian experience, so I went for a seafood pasta. While hubby was a little freaked out by an Italian menu, went for a burger. Don't judge. Sometimes when you're exhausted from your travels, the mind can't process foreign words. So if the man wants a burger, he gets a burger. This plate of pasta was everything. They surely do not stinge on ingredients, and you can see they're almost overflowing off the plate. One thing I've learned when eating pasta in Rome: do not ask for a spoon. Roll the pasta around your fork and just consume it like that. And do not ask for Parmesan cheese, because it's one surefire way of insulting your cook that the food isn't tasty enough. And adding Parmesan cheese to a seafood dish is considered sacrilegious. As they say, when in Rome. Anyway, this pasta, oh my effing god. It wasn't just tomato sauce, but the heavy, pungent stock of sweet prawn heads was the overriding flavor profile. This was so down my alley, I did not leave any hostages. This was one of those moments where I really wanted to lick the plate clean. Because why waste great sauce?
And good morning guys, welcome to day number 2 in Rome and welcome back to my video. So this morning we are beginning our day at the central market here in Rome. So I'm heading to Mercato Centrale, which is next to Stazione Termini. I can't believe I just did that. It is so great to be trying to speak Italian right here in Rome. Yeah, so I need my morning coffee fix. So I'm heading to the Central Market right now. It is a very grey and very, very chilly day today because I think it's supposed to rain, but that's not going to stop me from exploring the city today. All right, so come along with me and let's start our day at the Central Market. Let's do this. This is the last day of 2023, and this morning we're walking past the main railway station serving the city of Rome. This is Stazione di Roma Termini, and as a visitor, chances are high you're bound to be walking into or out of this station one way or another. The Central Market is located away from the main atrium on the southern facade, along the street of Via Giovanni Giolitti. Turn left into the next set of doors into another section of retail shops, and voila! Welcome to Il Mercato Centrale di Roma Termini. Opened in 2016, Mercato Centrale at Roma Termini was part of the station revamp as a huge part of this station was refurbished and modernized. Today, this venue forms an integral part of Roma Termini, as it is a popular stop-off point for visitors looking to take a break from their travels, whether by train or bus. Since I was here so early in the morning, I did not see the market in its full potential, because half the stalls were still shut. While I felt the environment was a little too modern for my liking, it was surely a great location for a morning latte and to savor one of my favorite dessert types, Italian sweets. Cannolis after cannolis with endless choices of fillings. Talk about being spoiled for choice. There are also delicious-looking pizzas by the slice. That being said, I made a mental note to come back here for lunch if I'm ever visiting Rome again. The lure of a buttery croissant proved too much to resist, so that's what I ended up with. And it had some extremely sickly, sweet lemony custard squirted into the insides. Thank God I do not eat like that all the time, because I really need to keep my hips in check. Since we were planning to meander ourselves about Rome today, we decided to take the stress out of trying to navigate the subway by paying for the services of a hop-on and hop-off bus service. This bus follows a fixed route about the main streets of Rome, and you just plan your itinerary according to where the stops are, which I think it's a fantastic way to go about it. Along the way, you'd get to enjoy the views out of your window, and this beautiful city continues to deliver one photo opportunity after another. Back on foot, we've now gotten off the bus and crossing the River Tiber on Ponte Sant'Angelo. We're looking directly at Castel Sant'Angelo, a 2nd century rotunda castle which was meant to be a mausoleum for the Roman Emperor Hadrian. It later became a fortress, a prison, and it is now a Renaissance museum after being decommissioned in 1901. From here, we're within walking distance to our next destination. Welcome to Vatican City. This is a landlocked independent country which achieved full sovereign authority from Italy in 1929. It is considered a microstate located within the enclave of Rome. In my earlier intro about me traveling through 7 countries in 2.5 weeks, let's make that 8 countries as we step over the border from Italy into Vatican City. With a land size of 49 hectares and a population of 764, Vatican City is the smallest state in the world by land size and population. Vatican City is ruled by the Pope, who's not only the Bishop of Rome, but also the head of the Catholic Church. The economy of Vatican City is very unique because it is sustained financially by donations from worshippers, sale of postage stamps and souvenirs, fees for admission into museums, and sales of publications. This microstate is also tax and duty-free. The skyline of Vatican City is dominated by this basilica we're entering now. Welcome to Basilica Papale di San Pietro in Vaticano. Besides dominating the skyline, the grandeur of this basilica also dominates the scenery as you walk into Vatican City from Rome. It was constructed in 1626 to replace the smaller
and aging basilica of the same name, which was built during the 4th century by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. St. Peter's Basilica is today considered one of the greatest churches of all time, and the significance of this is underlined by the Pope performing public worship services here several times a year. For those lucky enough, they can attend the service within the absolutely gorgeous insides. But the worship also spills over into the piazza outside this church. Attendees for these events can number anywhere from 15,000 to 80,000 people. The interior is simply lavish. It's decorated with marble, reliefs, architectural sculpture and gilding. Within this compound, there are also the tombs of previous popes and many other notable people. Many have described this as an ornament of the earth, and I do not dispute this. Another reason many people visit is to look at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel next door, which was decorated by the great Michelangelo himself. But this section was unfortunately closed during my visit. Bummer.
So that was the Basilica St. Pietro. So beautiful, isn't it?
As we leave the Vatican City back into Italy, we're now crossing the River Tiber to get back into the center of Rome. We decided to walk to our next destination via these charming narrow cobblestone streets. These cobblestones are called Sampietrini, and they're extremely slippery when wet, and can be uneven because the ground beneath has shifted over time. Please don't come here walking about in high heels, because you're just asking to be filmed tripping over and over. These little lanes are definitely a relief from the constant crowds, and they offer an extremely lovely background for storytelling. It is very romantic, and the walk is lined with little craft shops, quiet cafes, and the odd tailor here and there. We also walk by piazzas of various sizes, from the little ones no bigger than a few square meters to really grand-looking ones like the one here. Welcome to Piazza Navona. This location was really stumbled upon by us because we got a little lost during the walk. But hey, it was a blessing in disguise because this piazza is definitely stunning. This location began as a stadium during the 1st century AD, and it later fell into disrepair, and large parts of this stadium was eventually used to build other structures around Rome. Around the late 15th century, this area became designated as a public space, and the city market was transferred here. From there on, Piazza Navona was born. The Christmas market was in full swing, and I observed a lot of these ornaments for sale. It was a broom, to sweep out the bad luck and to usher in the new year with a clean slate. Does anyone know what is this called in Italian? Let me know in the comments. The walk along these narrow streets eventually became more crowded and noisier by the minute. No surprise because we've now arrived at our intended destination. With the amount of people heaving and pushing, I almost had to brace for impact. There are so many monumental sites in Rome, which attracts literally millions annually. And this is one of them. Welcome to Fontana di Trevi. The Trevi Fountain was constructed in 1762, and it is situated at the intersection of 3 streets of Via de' Crocici, Via Poli, and Via delle Murate. And this is what Trevi means: 3 streets in Italian. In line with what was going on in the 18th century with the period of Renaissance, Baroque facades like these were built in abundance all over Europe. One look at the crowd. No surprise why Fontana di Trevi is one of the most famous fountains in the world.
Oh, this is one of those things that you only do once in your life. The Trevi Fountain. Been there, done that, tick the box, and then we move on. And we don't have to do it again, ever, in your life.
Since we were walking so much today, we definitely needed a lot of carbs to keep going. Lunch soon beckoned, and it was time to munch on a couple of delicious ham sandwiches before hitting the cobblestone streets again. Oh yes, let's not forget the caffeine hit for that extra boost. We're now walking into what is perhaps the most famous piazza in all of Rome. This is Piazza di Spagna. It is named as such because Palazzo di Spagna, which is situated here, hosts the Embassy of Spain and has been so since 1647, therefore making this one of the oldest embassies in the world. This piazza is also the location of the Spanish Steps, another monument of sorts, but this one you can climb on. A total of 135 steps takes you to the top, where the Trinity dei Monti Church is located. Keen observers would recognize these steps as a setting for countless of movies and TV series. Everything from sitcoms like Everybody Loves Raymond to serious suspenseful thrillers like The Talented Mr. Ripley. Rom-coms are also popular with these steps as well, like To Rome with Love. And of course action flicks to the likes of Mission Impossible. Once you've managed to conquer the steps, all 135 of it, you'll be rewarded with this vantage view of the piazza below. And we reward ourselves with what else but more food? Well, more like a healthy snack of roasted chestnuts. We're after all still within the 12 days of Christmas, so yeah, let's get into it.
No, not my thing.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Jack Frost. No,
Not my thing.
not my thing either.
So that is the end of our time spent with this I Love Rome hop on, hop off bus. There are a lot of companies that do all this hop on and hop off. So go ahead and check it out. I'll link the website of I Love Rome just on your screen, or it'll be in the description so you can check them out. If you're here in Rome for the first time like me today, yeah, it's a pretty good way to actually see what's going on in the city. Yeah, and it takes you to where you need to go without much stress, and then you can walk like what I've done today. We've easily clocked more than 20,000 steps. So now we're heading back to the hotel to regroup and then go for dinner, I guess. Yeah. Well guys, next thing you know, it is our final night here in Rome and we're heading for our last dinner here with much reluctance. And tonight is actually New Year's Eve, so they've actually, a lot of restaurants around here, they've actually raised their prices by about 20%. But hey, you know, it is what it is. We're here on a holiday. What choice do you have? You want to enjoy yourself, you just have to pay the prices, correct? So without further ado, let's go for dinner right now. Let's do this.
Some nights I feel like a total carnivore. So if you're offended by seeing someone consume meat, look away now and use the chapter markers below and forward to the conclusion. Because when I saw Osteria, I knew there was going to be some awesome steaks involved. And they did not disappoint. Medium rare, well seasoned with a sprinkling of salt, and that's really all you need to enjoy this succulent piece of heaven. As I soak in the experience of this amazing dinner, let's also use this time to do a short summary of my thoughts about Rome as a first-time visitor. The good, bad, and everything in between. I am someone who appreciates history. The older, the better. And Rome serves historical beauty to you in spades and then some. Because Roman history goes so far back, there's just so much to uncover. There's no way for me to be specific in this 30-minute video. So this visit was surely educational and equal parts fascinating as I learned about the significance of what everything meant. And the food, oh my god, Rome did not disappoint. One fantastic delicious meal after another, the culinary adventure was one to remember. However, there are also the dark sides to this city though. Because Rome is such a significant tourist hotspot on the same level as London and Paris, scammers and pickpockets are on the prowl. I almost never had my wallet with me. Only a few key credit cards and a small amount of cash was all I carried in my front pocket. And my first-hand experience with a scammer outside the Colosseum surely put me on the edge. So while I wasn't really paranoid, I wasn't exactly having my guard down either. And the internet is filled with different scams carried out by these con artists in Rome, specifically targeting tourists. So while I did enjoy my visit on the whole, I'm not exactly in a hurry to return. Am I right about this decision? Let me know what do you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, let's close off this video and join a live Ryan after dinner to conclude.
Well guys, we have come to the end of my stay here in Rome. And if you followed me since the first episode when I arrived, I'd like to thank you for your support. So in the meantime, I've chucked details of my Instagram on your screen right now. So do not forget to hit me up there and chuck me a follow. And of course, more importantly, iscriviti e suona il campanello. Grazie e arrivederci. And I will see you for my next episode as I head north to Venice. Ciao!